Cool. Well, Mike, good to be on with you here. How's it going today? You all well?
Great, great. No, we're excited to be here, and it's great to see us getting to this point in the conversation. We've been looking forward to this, and we're excited.
Yeah, I think we'd had a lot of conversations coming into it, just with this fit of the entrepreneurs that are driving the solar market, the businesses in the regions that are acquiring customers and closing sales and financing. That's where it's all happening, and we've got quite a bit of fit there, right? How did you guys get into the long tail? When did that become a big focus?
It really goes all the way back to the early days of Sungage. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary as the first solar loan company back in 2011, when our founder, Sarah Ross, was really first trying to get Sungage going. She had put solar on her own home and had quite a difficult time with, construction loans and banks that didn't want to do solar. And so she really strongly felt that, boy, a loan should be out there that's designed for solar, not just leasing. And she really thought the future of the industry would be the long tail, the individual installers who are often on their own building businesses, that was really the future, not the large national companies. And we still see some of those around, but we've seen an awful lot of expansion of individual installer partners going out on their own and building businesses and being very, very close to the customer, and very a lot of ownership of their brand personally. And we really think that's a great way for solar to develop and expand. So we're excited about that. We've always been committed to that end of the spectrum, and we try to do everything we can to support those partners.
Yeah, that was very visionary of Sarah. I enjoyed chatting with her on and off over the years, and you've seen it in every country around the world, that majority of solar is installed by smaller businesses that are growing super rapidly, very entrepreneurial, very active in their communities. And yeah, well done her for spotting that trend early on. And how are you seeing the market these days? What have you seen as the sort of evolution, and anything you'd share with the viewers here on what's going on in the States today?
Well, there've been a number of trends. I think, as I mentioned earlier, loans have been gaining share from leases over time. And I think one of the things that was going on at the kitchen table was what is that monthly payment? And last year, with the advent of 25-year terms and loans, I think between that and lower fixed APRs, those monthly payments really started to become very competitive. And in most cases these days, you can go all the way down to a 0% 25-year loan if you want to. And that has made the loan competitive with the lease in virtually every market. And so that's continuing this trend. And there's certainly a place in the world for leases. I'm not suggesting there isn't, but for an awful lot of residential solar customers, the loan is a better proposition in terms of the tax credit that's available here in the States, and even a lot of the local incentives. And that's the other thing that Sungage tries to do, is we really work hard to include state and even local incentives in addition to the federal tax credit. And that helps lower the monthly payment. Again, I think it's a better deal for the consumer. We take all that and wrap it into what we call the zero interest portion of our loan, or the ZIP. And that's actually literally treated as a zero tax proposition from when the loan is funded all the way until the following June, when we reamortize after tax season. And we're unique in the market in doing that. The other finance outfits tend to use an interest-only treatment. And our treatment's a little bit better for the consumer. It allows them to start paying principal down immediately rather than waiting until 18 months goes by. And it's just one of the things that, again, our founder, Sarah, I have to credit, was one of the ideas about a true no interest treatment. And that's one of the things we've always been very pleased to be able to offer the market.
Yeah, that's great. And there's obviously a lot going on, on the policy side. We'll see, hopefully a pretty prosperous 10 years ahead of us. But also just the challenges often for these businesses about how do you grow? How do you acquire customers more efficiently? How do you, basically get a project through with less time consumed and less dollars, so that you can really, generate some profit and also invest that in the growth of the business? And how do the customers react to the Sungage product, and how are they sort of scaling their businesses, do you think?
Well, we've seen quite a bit of growth over the last year. There were a number of things, quite honestly, that we didn't have in place a year or two ago that the market was asking for. And we've done a lot of product work in the last 18 months, and the fruits of that are really starting to accrue. We'll grow over 80% this year over year. So we're really, and a lot of that growth is, in the long end of the tail. We to this day really don't work with the large outfits. That's never been our market. But we're up over 500 partners now, and very excited about the uptake there. And one of the big things that's still on our to-do list is integration with platforms like OpenSolar. And so this is an exciting milestone for us in that journey.
Yeah, but likewise, it's great to be partnered with you on it. It's a cool, it makes a ton of sense, right? Because what we've had feedback from our users, they have the customer on the phone or on a video share, or they're live with the customer and they've got this proposal. And in our case, usually the digital proposal. And the idea of then at that exact point of time having to leave that environment to go in somewhere else to then go through the finance application and getting that, bringing those two things together with the in one place, like having to do that in different sites is really quite impactful to conversion and therefore scale and efficiency. So yeah, it's really cool to have it all plugged in. And how are your customers selling today? Do you have a sense of, is it more over the phone or field sales? Is that changing much, do you think?
We've seen certainly an uptake, especially last year, in different versions of trying to sell remotely and over the phone. And I think the design platforms have done some amazing things. OpenSolar, we're going through a demo recently with your product, and some of the things can be done to analyze the system design are just kind of amazing, the technology. And so I think, it really makes for a great presentation to the homeowner as you go walking them through that. So I think that's been certainly popular. My sense is that people still like to be face-to-face when they can be. And, I feel like that's evening out. There was a big push for it last year. I think it's kind of reaching equilibrium. And really, you got to play off what your customer is comfortable with. Some homeowners are very comfortable with technology, some are less so. And so I think it's always best to kind of go whichever direction they seem to prefer. But the fact that you can present such high quality information so seamlessly throughout the conversation, I think is really impressive and really engaging.
Yeah, I reckon that's the key word for me, the seamlessly piece. So with this integration with Sungage on OpenSolar, you can do your phone sale online over the phone in the digital environment. And then you can also handle right there in the home in the same sort of integrated, seamless process, showing them. And like you say, like the idea of doing the 3D automated shading, automated layout, all that just really nice technology, and go straight into a beautiful proposal and have the amazing finance solutions right there in the same place.
And as you say, avoiding having to jump in and out of the platform, it really makes it a much better experience. One of the things we're really excited about in terms of the way you've chosen to integrate our product is the way monthly payments are being brought in through the API. And one of the quirks of our zero interest product is that the monthly payment changes throughout the year every month. And so it's not something that's easy to calculate outside our system. And we were really thrilled that your folks chose to integrate that through the API and deliver an accurate monthly payment. That's definitely one of the big asks we get. And I think one of the reasons people do jump out of a platform into our portal and back again. And I think this integration is going to completely avoid that, which is a huge win. Great. Well, hopefully we'll have 500 of these installer partners of yours will be benefiting from it in the not too distant future. And Mike, just thanks for joining us on this little session, and congrats on everything you're doing at Sungage. Likewise, we look forward to it. We're excited about the launch. Thank you.